This show is made possible by SparkleGenieProducts.com. Earth-friendly cleaning products made in the USA. Safe for kids, safe for pets, safe for you. Save 20% off your first order when you use discount code SPIRITS at SparkleGenieProducts.com.
Spirits and More Radio.
If I touch my shoulder, it would touch my hair.
Starts now.
And I said, what in the hell is that?
Mommy, I'm scared. Spirits and More Radio starts.
This show is made possible by SparkleGenieProducts.com. Earth-friendly cleaning products made in the USA. Safe for kids, safe for pets, safe for you. Save 20% off your first order when you use discount code SPIRITS at SparkleGenieProducts.com.
Spirits and More Radio.
If I touch my shoulder, it would touch my hair.
Starts now.
And I said, what in the hell is that?
Mommy, I'm scared. Spirits and More Radio starts now.
Welcome to another edition of Spirits and More Radio. This is our 5th edition, and we're really excited tonight because we've got witchcraft on our mind and a very special guest coming to us from Canada, the Lost Witch, and she's going to be talking to us about her experiences with witchcraft and the paranormal and all sorts of really interesting things. Remember, the caller line is 1-872-244-6787. That's 1-872-2-GHOSTS. So join us tonight. We have a great show planned.
Turn down the lights if you dare. Spirits and More Radio.
And magic is on our mind tonight, and we're going to talk about all sorts of magic and paranormal type activity and psychic abilities and mediumship and all sorts of interesting things, because tonight's show is about witches. And we have a special guest with us tonight, the Lost Witch, Marlo, and she's going to be with us tonight. We also have Eric Van Lee, our
the typical spells, which is different from something like OTO or Golden Dawn.
And when you say OTO, for new listeners, please tell us what OTO is and Golden Dawn, because I don't know what Golden Dawn is.
They're both magical orders based on mostly Hermeticism. OTO was most famous for Aleister Crowley. L. Ron Hubbard also got his start in OTO before starting Scientology. But both witchcraft and OTO or Golden Dawn, I think the main element behind all of them is what the motto in OTO actually is do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. And that's just basically manifesting your will. And that was one of the main tenets that Crowley talked about. a lot of people seem to get this wrong. They think that means do whatever you want, which isn't the case. It just means that live to what your will or thelema tells you. And I think when someone who practices witchcraft or is Wiccan does a spell, more than the symbology or, you know, putting a person's picture under your pillow, or, you know, even in something more neo-pagan like the Billy tree, tying strings around the Billy tree for Yule, more than the symbology and the actual spell itself is the actual intent that goes behind it.
Interesting. So it's sort of, and I've heard this before, but if I understand you correctly, this all centers around focusing energy in a way. Is that right?
Right. That's my belief.
Yeah.
I mean, our guests might have a different viewpoint. I don't know. But I mean, candle burning and, you know, all the stuff that you do. My belief is that yes, symbology does play an important role, but it's creating that psychic energy or even the superconscious energy that Jung talked about to create manifestation.
I see. And, you know, it's interesting because today it seems like people are very open to these sorts of alternative religions and ideology and so forth. But there was a point in time back a long time ago where the Roman Catholic Church made it a point to make sure everybody was on board with what their ideology was. And we were talking about this in our pre-production meeting about this show, but the whole introduction of Satan in the year 1000 and then the inquisitions that went on across Europe from that point in time, for anybody who wasn't on board, witchcraft was included in that, and there were 40 to 60,000 people that were executed for practicing witchcraft and things, not to mention even tortured. So it was a period of time when you didn't want to go outside the realm, or a transition period. But now it's interesting because we're here in the year 2017, and society is broken away from that sort of harsh punishment in a way, and allowed people to follow some different paths that are not so rigid and so forth. So with that, I'd like to introduce our guest, the Lost Witch. We met on Twitter, and she is tuned in right now with us, and is going to tell us a little bit about her story and how she got involved with witchcraft and maybe some of the special abilities she has. Welcome to the show. Marlo, you're with us, right?
Yeah, hi.
Hello. So yeah, tell us, Marlo. So I just had to tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you... you're a witch, and you responded to that.
Yeah.
And so where did it all start for you?
I don't know. Since I was little, I just liked witches. Crystal balls, you name it, the altar.
And so when you were little, you probably connected with like the Wizard of Oz and some of the other witches that you saw in media. Yeah. Or did you? So you're not from a family of witches, because some people we talk to on this show have.
Technically, I am.
Okay.
But they didn't talk about it back then.
Okay.
I didn't find out about the family abilities until I was in my 30s.
Interesting.
Because my dad never really talked about it. He was from Italy, directly from Italy, so he was old school and very superstitious.
So in your home though that you grew up in, was it a Christian type upbringing, or?
Yeah. I started realizing, like, I seen shadow people. I was able to hear certain things that nobody else did. I knew about certain things before they happened. So when I was in school, I just kind of started reading books and just started learning that way.
I see. So what was the first, I guess, where did it transition from sort of a fascination with witches to something that was more real for you?
Probably when I was about 13 years old, I realized I can do things that nobody else could.
And what were those things? What could you do?
Well, I can scry,
And
crystal ball gazing.
Okay, and tell us, what does that entail, and exactly what does that mean?
Basically, you're with the mirror, you're looking at your reflection, but you look past your reflection. You kind of get pulled into this. I'm not even sure how to explain what it is. You kind of zone out, and then you begin to see shadows, and then you start seeing images.
So is it like a trance-like state almost, where you sort of just let it go and see what comes to you?
Yeah. And then I realized that everything that I was seeing was happening so many days later. So that was kind of neat. So I just started practicing doing that.
So when you would gaze into a crystal ball, the crystal ball itself doesn't have a special ability. It's just a tool, right? It's
a tool. It's something that I'm actually concentrating on. So everything else, my subconscious is opening up.
Right.
And then I'm able to see.
Yeah, and I've heard that before. I've heard people who have that ability say that, like, you can fill a glass full of water and sort of stare at the water and achieve the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually we were on a paranormal investigation in Garden Grove, and we were doing scrying into a mirror, and this was actually the first time I had ever done scrying. I was starting to get upset because I thought the stuff that I was seeing was crazy. I saw a lady in a white Victorian dress, and then I saw a little girl as well, and a few other things. And what I saw, I didn't know if it was my imagination or real. I saw these things visually, but I didn't know it was because, I was tired, or if I was just, like in that dazed state I was trying to get into to meditate. But it turned out those visions that I was seeing were actually real. That was a case where we wound up dealing with the demon Lilith, and those were two of her manifestations.
Wow. I haven't had, I guess I've attempted that, because like I said, I've heard that you can do that if you sort of gaze into a glass of water. I've had a couple experiences that I would say are probably not coincidental. I don't necessarily know that I believe that they're some psychic vision, but my story was that in high school, we all went to the Indian casino, and we were standing behind a Pai Gow poker table. And that's a version of poker that a lot of Filipino people in this area like to play. And you don't have to know how to play it. You can actually bet behind a player. And so as I stood and watched the game, I had no idea how it was played at all. But as I was sitting there watching the game and sort of, daydreaming in a way, not paying close attention because my friends wanted to be there, I just had this feeling that told me, bet now. And it was a pretty strong feeling. And so I put my $20 chip or whatever it was behind a particular player, and he won. And I pulled my money aside, and I waited about 3 or 4 more hands, and then I just got this strong feeling again, bet now. So I bet, and I won. And that went on for about 45 minutes. I didn't lose once. And I noticed everyone at the table was betting based on me now, which I thought was interesting. I know nothing of the game. So, there was no technical skill involved. But since then, I've felt that I can do that at roulette wheels and walk around in the casinos too. Particular machines that tend to just pay out as I go around. But one interesting thing, and I don't know if you two can relate to this, but if I think too hard, it doesn't work. I have to just let it come to me. And, when I do, it does. And if I try, it's not going to happen. It just has to happen on its own. So I don't know if I'm tapping into the same sort of thing you two have experienced.
You're tapping into the energy, yeah.
But that's my own personal experience. So from there, if you could, Marlo, tell us, how did you transition into technically a witch?
Along with learning about the paranormal, the witchcraft still was there, and I started doing more reading, research. I started my first, what was I doing? Chanting. I was doing chanting to call upon the wind or the snow or something weird, and it would happen. Huh. I thought it was a coincidence, and then kept on doing it, and it just always happened every time I did it.
Wow. We're going to take a break right now, and we're going to get right back to exactly what happened from that point. So everyone, if you're listening, we are with the Lost Witch, known as Marlo, and Eric Van Leer, our co-host. This is Spirits and More Radio, and we'll be back right after this message.
You are listening to Spirits and More Radio. Have a paranormal story? Tell us at spooksandspirits.com.
We are back with Spirits and More Radio. You can call in to this show. In the second half, we might take some callers. It's 1-872-244-6787. That'll get you in. If you don't get in, you can leave your voicemail, and we might get that on the air as well. So please call in. You can also find all our shows and the previous past shows at spiritsandmoreradio.com. We've had lots of interesting guests this far. We're going to get right back into it. So the Lost Witch, Marlo, was just telling us how she recognized she had some unique ability to see things that were to come in the future. And then at that point, she started to, I guess, educate yourself. Is that a right word? Educate yourself on witchcraft?
Yeah, yes, exactly. I don't know, I learned more things as I grew older. I noticed rhyming for incantations seems to help a lot. Something like Bewitched, I guess.
Huh. And well, tell us first, because I think there's a lot of people listeners who don't know anything about witchcraft. They might want to know that there's different types of witches. Is that right?
Yeah, there are. There's many different types. I didn't know that until I was looking to see what kind of witch I really was.
And what type of witch are you?
I'm a Grey Witch.
Okay, and what is a Grey Witch?
A Grey Witch believes in balance, justice. Will go to the dark in order to get the light, so to speak. That's probably about it, really. I'll do the same things a Black Witch would do. I would also do the same things a White Witch would do. So
you don't lean one way or the other. You're open to everything.
No. Yeah, to all.
And what is
I've done voodooism. I've done it all.
And what is, I guess for those of us who don't know anything about witchcraft, can you walk us through what a spell might be like, what you actually do?
I guess I would need an intent, like the reason behind it. Preparation would be either setting up an altar or just going out in nature.
So are your spells reserved for things of greater importance? It's not something that you commonly do, or what is the threshold for you to turn to this ability for either results or answers?
Well, when I was younger, I was just testing to see if it worked or not. Then I realized, okay, I can make a hex on somebody, and it worked. So I started going more into spells. When I got older, people wanted love spells, things like that. So I would create spells just for those people. A lot of times I used candle magic, where I would engrave the candle, put some oils on it, basically, and then give them instructions on what to do.
I see. So there's a procedure that comes along with it. Are those the directions that are required to make that successful? Are those things that have been passed down from a long time ago? Is there a encyclopedia of spells, so to speak?
Actually, for me, it wasn't. I was just doing things on gut instinct. I don't know. I just did it as when I was growing up. Probably about 10 years ago is when I realized the things I was doing when I was a child, these were things that were being done around the world, years ago.
I see.
So it's almost like it's a natural gift, literally.
So it didn't take much for you to be successful at this. It was there for you.
Yeah.
Did you have any fear of maybe doing something that would have a bad result?
I would say probably when me, my brother, and my cousins kind of got involved with satanic things. We were curious about that kind of stuff, the satanic Bible, the rituals. That was a bit scary in a way, but didn't dabble too much into that.
Was there something that happened to you that scared you?
Yes and no. I'm not sure if it was satanic or not. It was just us as kids doing that Bloody Mary ritual in the mirror with the candle. There's 6 of us. Weird stuff really happened. A shadow appeared behind us. There were claw marks on the wall behind us after.
Crawl marks, you mean like scratches in the wall?
There was, 3 claw marks going straight down the wall.
Wow.
The lights wouldn't come on. We couldn't get the door to open.
So
there was a lot of things.
So you believe in evil?
Yeah.
You feel like
if there's good, there's evil. It's a balance.
Right. So, and this is interesting because you talk about you're not opposed to hexes and what's referred to as black or dark magic. I know there are, based on some things I've researched, that there's a large group of people who believe that white magic, or what they call right-hand magic, is really where people should be. And if you dabble in the left hand or dark magic, that there's this idea that it comes back on you 3 times. So you don't believe that?
No.
I see.
No. I think it's just, I don't know if you want to call it a religion, but nobody's right, nobody's wrong. They're happy with doing what they're doing. I don't go praying to the devil or nothing like that, but their rituals are a bit different, a little bit darker than what I would do.
You're talking about people who do black magic.
The dark. Yeah.
And I wonder, I've poked around on YouTube a little bit, and I'm sure you're familiar with Black Witch Coven and Black Witch S in Australia. You know who she is?
I've heard.
Yeah. So she's the opposite of what you would think somebody would look like that does black magic and that sort of things. And I just wonder, it's one of those things, if someone were evangelical Christian, they could easily say, that's evil there, packaged in a nice package to lure in people into this sort of evil thing. Do you have any fear with regard to this practice of magic? Do you should other people fear? Should people? I'm sort of surprised as I look online, all the wide variety of people involved in magic, and there's a lot of human emotions and situations where people feel wronged, whether it be a coworker or a boss or a landlord, and you've got people practicing magic and dark magic. Do you fear dark magic in any way?
No. See, when I do a hex or a curse on someone, when I'm asked to do it for someone, I always put a clause on there. If they are guilty of doing whatever it is they're being accused of, then let the hex, stick. But if they are innocent, nothing happens. There are repercussions to hexing and cursing someone. I've learned not to do that. You do get bad luck.
So you believe it does come back on you if you're not if there's not good cause. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yeah.
So if someone's being extra emotional or very irrational about a coworker's treatment of them and ask someone to do that, it sounds like you've got this little escape clause that if this is not the truth, it doesn't happen.
Yeah. It seems to work. I don't know if it's coincidence or not when I do things. It doesn't seem like it anymore, but I won't do anything. I always make sure that there's no injury, like serious injury will happen to them.
I see.
So I'm not so much as being, a dark witch. I'm just still, again, I'm looking for that justice.
I see. So is there a limitation to what you will do for somebody?
Is there a limitation? No. I've done a lot of research on some demons and things like that, the darker aspects, to help some people. I've had a few attacks, you can call them.
Attacks on yourself?
Yeah. Oh, I've been scratched. I actually had a small bite mark on me once. That was weird. Bruised. They come up in 6s and 3s. I've been growled at. And that's just from helping people who have issues with the darker aspect of the spirit world.
I see.
So when you start to dabble, they watch, and it seems like they kind of try to stop you.
You mean who tries to stop you? The demons try to stop you?
Yeah, the darker side, yeah.
They try and stop you from accomplishing your goal, or they work with you?
No, to stop me from accomplishing the goal.
I see. Because I have heard that some people try and work with demons to help them.
Oh, you could, yeah. I don't trust them. They're not trustworthy. I don't know. If you can't see them, you can't, I don't know, you don't know what you're dealing with.
Do you know when a demon is present?
There's a different feel.
So you may be involved in situation with somebody and they've asked you to do something and you will come up with a plan for them. And at some point in this execution of the plan, you start to get a feeling that there's something more sinister involved.
Yeah, you can just tell. A lot of time, there'll be a smell sometimes. The air's thicker. It affects your mood. How you think. It's not like a regular spirit.
So when you're in the presence of a spirit that's not a demon, mm-hmm. There's a clear difference between the two.
Yeah. You don't feel like you're being stalked. That's the feeling it is, like you're being watched.
I see.
With the spirit, they come in, show you a few images or something, and they kind of just go away, type of thing. Nice and smooth. No getting you on edge.
I see.
When a demon's around, it's like the hair on your back, on your neck is standing up. It's just, you just know there's something there.
I see. And with that, we will be right back on Spirits and More Radio. We are with Lost Witch and Eric Van Leer, our co-host. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
And now it's time for Haunted Places.
I'm calling from Alabama, and I wanted to tell you a story about a Furby. This happened about 5 years ago. My husband and I drove up to our friend's house. We were actually going to Birmingham, Alabama to see the Drive-By Truckers, going to a concert. We're sitting at their house. They were finishing getting ready, and I noticed her husband was taking out the garbage, and I could hear sounds coming from it. So I looked at Barbie, and I'm like, hey, why is your garbage talking? She goes, oh, that's just the Furby. I said, what do you mean Furby? She goes, well, I found it in the closet. I said, what closet? She said, the hall closet. I said, did you notice it when you moved in this house, which was only about 2 years ago, before this happened? And she said, no. And I said, and you're just now finding it? And she goes, yeah, it started making sounds. And I said, well, okay. And she blew it off, and her husband came back in, and I said, what's with the Furby and the garbage talking? And because it was actually saying, I said, I heard it say, help me, as you took it out the door. I said, that was a little odd. And Barbie goes, oh, that's nothing. When I was dumping dust into the garbage pail earlier, it actually sneezed. And I'm like, okay, this is just messed up. But we were sitting there drinking a few beers, and we said, okay, fine. And it had already been taken out into the garbage. And we decided to take their car, so they followed us to our house. We parked it there, got in their car, drove to Birmingham, went to a great concert, drank a few beers, and came home. They let us out at our house and then drove about 7 minutes to theirs. We hadn't been home long at all. I get a phone call from a distraught best friend. Barbie's hysterical. Get up here right now. It's the Furby. Now, we had been drinking, so I told my husband to grab the sledgehammer. I got my great-grandmother's Bible, and I also got a bottle of holy water that came from the monks at the Ave Maria Grotto in Alabama. And they bless holy water, and you can purchase it from them. So, and meanwhile, my niece, who was 18 at the time, was spending the night, and she was like, where are you going? I said, we're going to the Barbie's house. You know, her and DJ have got a loose, possessed Furby. So we take off up there, we pull up at the house, and I look at my husband, and I'm like, please tell me they did not bring the Furby inside the house, because they had already put it in the garbage can. We knock on the door, Barbie comes running to the door, and she's like, get in here right now. BJ, Mr. Science, who is an English teacher, sat on the couch going, I'm not getting involved with this. I don't believe any of it. We walk inside. I said, where's the Furby? She said, it's sitting on the counter. I'm like, well, what happened? She said, when we came home, it was sticking out of the garbage can, staring at us. I said, what do you mean? She goes, and there's a hole in the plastic bag. I'm like, what? Wait. So we go outside. There's a hole in the garbage bag. And I'm like, you did this. She goes, no. It looked like something had chewed just a hole wide enough for it to crawl out of. And I said, well, where exactly was it sitting? She said, right here, sticking its head out. She somehow thought y'all did this. I said, we were with you. You dropped us off at our house. How could we get up here and do anything? So we went inside. I'm sorry I'm out of breath. I'm just trying to get it all in your machine. We go back inside. I told my husband to get the Furby. I told Barbie to get 3 garbage bags. My niece is just dying because she's all about spooks and ghosts, and her nickname is Miss Macabre, and she's just, going, oh, this is just too much. And I went around to all the doorways in the house. I slung holy water. Now I'm holding my great-grandmother's Bible and about 3 sheets in the wind, but serious as hell, telling that we rebuke all evil. It can't be in this house anymore, and this is a good house, and these are good people. And went around to every door in every room in that house and put holy water through the entranceway. Then we went outside. I told my husband, get the sledgehammer and smash it. Okay, he's smashing the Furby, and my niece is poking me in the side going, no batteries, no batteries, no batteries. And I'm like, what? And we looked at it, and there are no batteries in this Furby. Now, I heard it, my husband's heard it, Barbie and BJ heard it several times. So we took it apart, we put it in 3 different bags, put holy water in each bag, put it back in the garbage can, shut the garbage can lid, and I looked at all of them and I said, we're not going to talk about this anytime soon. Meanwhile, her husband BJ had sat on the couch refusing to deal with any of this. And Barbie goes, okay, I feel good now. And we went back home. We didn't tell anybody the story for probably a year. My niece told people, but we never did. They had lived in this house for about 2 years, had never seen this Furby, didn't know it existed. We helped them move in. It just started the closet. There was just a little voice coming out of the closet one day. And so there you go. You never know what's going to happen. So love from Alabama, people, and y'all have a great day. Thanks.
And you are listening to Spirits and More Radio. We are talking witches tonight, and we have a witch with us on the show. Her Twitter name is The Lost Witch, and Marlo, you are back with us, and we also have our co-host Eric Van Leer. We were talking about demons and black magic and so forth, but we just heard the story of a possessed Furby, it sounded like. Do you believe that these energies sort of manifest in individual items? Is that the idea behind when you cast a spell, including some sort of accessory, so to speak, to make it happen? Does it amplify the power of it, or can witches sort of manifest just with your mind?
You can do both, I think. I've actually placed curses on my personal items so that if something went missing, I would know. And it has actually happened to people. I hate to say that, but I learned again not to do it anymore.
Can you give us an example?
Well, I've had an ex-boyfriend, he got hit by a car. It's that kind of a thing. It's kind of like, be careful what you wish for, right, as well. Again, it has to do with the energy. You're sending this off out into the universe, and anything can happen. You're opening up something.
So you believe that it's not necessarily the herbs or the oil or specific symbolism of symbols that may be used, or types of candles or colors or smells. It's really more the intent. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yep, big time. Because when I was younger, I was doing spells. I wasn't using any oils or anything. I was verbally saying what I needed, what I wanted. And next thing you know, within a few days, something happened. So it's always about the intention, the energy that you send out.
I think that's interesting because there's a parallel to what you're saying, and I've seen other videos of people online say the same thing, that you are practicing witchcraft in their opinion if you are willing these ideas and energy towards somebody. And the parallel to that, if you think about it, is people who are Tony Robbins and sort of these people who are self-help coaches. You know, if you listen to them, they frequently say that you should start your day with a positive message and set the tone for your day and envision your future the way you want it, even visualize it with collages and things like that. And as I listen to you and I think about some of those seminars I've seen and things like that, the two almost seem the same.
Yeah, it's about the same. Again, it's the energy. It's what you want, what you need, what you ask for. But again, you have to know how to ask for something. It's like casting a love spell. You know, you can cast it for true love. But if you cast a spell to have a particular person fall in love with you, well, it's going to go the opposite way because you're doing something against another person's will.
Have you seen?
So again, there's a payment.
Have you seen that happen?
Yeah. I actually did that my first time trying to do a love spell. I made a charm, and every time I had the charm with me, the person would be around. But it wasn't the same. They became obsessive. They became more dominant. I don't know. They changed. I broke the spell, the curse, the hex. But I felt like I was hexed. I hexed myself. So I got rid of the charm that I had, and the guy just left me alone. Just disappeared, literally.
What are some of as you think back to all your experience over the years of being involved with casting spells and hexes and curses, is there a particular event or story that really stands out in your mind? Something that either you didn't expect or something that was just so profound that it sort of really got to you?
I don't think anything really with the hexes and that. If anything, I think maybe foreseeing something, but nothing really too much with the witchcraft itself.
So what was it that you saw that was frightening, so to speak?
I was 14 years old. It was Christmas. We had company over, and I kept telling everybody, there's going to be an accident. There's going to be 3 people, 2 cars. Everyone thought I was crazy. I just kept repeating it, saying it's going to happen just after Christmas. You know, it was Christmas Day, but in the evening. About 20 minutes after midnight, we heard this big bang. Looked across the street. 2 cars were in an accident. An ambulance came, and 3 people were taken to the hospital. I had my family, everybody was just staring at me, and I felt like a freak. So after that, I just kind of kept quiet.
Were you surprised yourself?
I really was. I didn't think it was going to really happen, but I just kept on pacing, going to the window, looking outside. It was just this feeling. It's just like something that just cannot be changed. You know, that was the first time that something like that actually happened. And then it started happening more often, and then I learned to pay attention.
So do you sometimes see visions that, I guess, what portion of your visions that come to you are, do you ever get positive images, or are they always some sort of negative image?
If it's a negative image, usually there's a reason, and that's because it can be changed.
So the car accident wasn't really an example of that, was that?
No, not for the first time, no. it was almost like a big slap in the face saying, boom, this is what you're going to be seeing for the rest of your life. You know, get prepared. Not all things can be changed, but most of them can.
So what was the next thing that you saw?
I woke up in the middle of the night, or it wasn't really in the middle of the night. It must have been like 1 o'clock in the morning or something, but I woke up, went into the living room, started crying. My dad came into the house, the phone rang, and my mom told my dad to go back to his father's house because his dad just passed away. And the ambulance was there. I knew about him dying just as he did.
So that was something you foresaw before it happened?
Like minutes before, and I woke up from it, yeah.
And you were in the same house or room or somewhere completely far away?
No, about two streets away.
I see. At some point, I would imagine that the experiences become so undeniable that you, at some point you probably initially questioned yourself, and then there's a point where you just probably gave up on that and accepted that what you're seeing is something special.
Yeah, I did question my sanity for a while, but there was proof. There was always, people were turning around telling me you were right. When I give a warning or something, and it was kind of nice that you could make a bit of a difference, or you can surprise somebody and put a smile on their face, or you can scare them because you know things that you shouldn't know.
Right.
But it's fun. I like it.
I see. We're going to be right back with Marlo, who's telling us a little bit about her psychic abilities, and there's some other things that she also sees as well, and so I want to get into that. We will be right back. You're listening to Spirits and More Radio.
Spirits and More Radio. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
This show is made possible by SparkleGenieProducts.com. Earth-friendly cleaning products made in the USA. Safe for kids, safe for pets, safe for you. Save 20% off your first order when you use discount code SPIRITS at SparkleGenieProducts.com.
Spirits and More Radio.
If I touch my shoulder, it would touch my hair.
Starts now.
And I said, what the hell is that?
Spirits and More Radio starts now.
Welcome to another edition of Spirits and More Radio. This is our 5th edition, and we're really excited tonight because we've got witchcraft on our mind and a very special guest coming to us from Canada, the Lost Witch, and she's going to be talking to us about her experiences with witchcraft and the paranormal and all sorts of really interesting things. Remember, the caller line is 1-872-244-6787. That's 1-872-2-GHOSTS. So join us tonight. We have a great show planned.
Turn down the lights. If you dare. Spirits and More Radio.
And magic is on our mind tonight, and we're going to talk about all sorts of magic and paranormal type activity and psychic abilities and mediumship and all sorts of interesting things, because tonight's show is about witches. And we have a special guest with us tonight, the Lost Witch, Marlo, and she's going to be with us tonight. We also have Eric Van Leer, our co-host, coming in from Los Angeles, and he's going to lend a little bit to this conversation with his experience in the occult. So we're gonna see how all of it fits together tonight. Eric, you are with us, and I want to know: do witches and witchcraft really fall right in with the occult?
I believe so. I mean, there's they both have. From my understanding and from what I've been involved with, they both have their rituals and all that. The witchcraft that I have been involved with, they do a lot of the typical spells, which is different from something like OTO or Golden Dawn.
And when you say OTO, for new listeners, please tell us what OTO is and Golden Dawn, because I don't know what Golden Dawn is.
They're both magical orders based on mostly Hermeticism. OTO was most famous for Aleister Crowley. L. Ron Hubbard also got his start in OTO before starting Scientology. But both witchcraft and OTO or Golden Dawn, I think the main element behind all of them is what the motto in OTO actually is do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. And that's just basically manifesting your will. And that was one of the main tenets that Crowley talked about. A lot of people seem to get this wrong. They think that means do whatever you want.
More vision.
Okay. So that's really centered around you having a visual image of something happening, and then it comes true. And then when you do the scrying, you're saying that, and scrying for listeners, people who are listening, is you getting into a almost trance-like state by staring at anything, really, to be fair. And when you do that, it's a more dynamic experience, you're saying, that leads you to see other types of things that are more, is it more interactive for you?
Yeah. It's almost, again, it has to do with energy. Because I could do a remote view of a location, could be a couple 100 miles away, doesn't matter. If there's, say, spirit activity there, I pick up on it. I get pulled to it. And it seems like when I'm doing that, there's a chance that they can follow me back. So again, they're following my energy back to my home. So I'm leaving a path.
So when people here on Earth are thinking about life after death, do you think that people end up all in the same place? Or do you think that people are separate from these other sorts of energy beings that maybe have, as you describe it, other realms?
I think if they want to, I think they're able to go if they want to another realm. I don't think they're just stuck in heaven or something like that.
I guess the question comes from, when you die, what do you expect to happen for you?
I plan to haunt people.
I do too. I do too. Eric, do you plan on haunting people?
Oh, absolutely. There's a few I could think of right now.
Forever you could go to Disneyland and not have to pay for the annual pass. or wherever your favorite place is, right? But is that what you see? Because, Marlo, you have this ability to sort of go there. Is it much like that, or is it what you see is, do you feel like you have a full understanding of what you see, or are you just getting a glimpse into something?
I think I'm just getting a glimpse into something because there's more out there. There's just, it's like almost seeing the outside of the gates type of thing. I think there's a lot more out there that we just don't know about and not being shown either. It's not so much of them showing me anything, but letting me feel what they're feeling as well. Like when they're on the other side, they show you memories. They show, good times, bad times. They're not exactly showing you where they are. Mind you, I've never asked them neither.
Right.
I've never thought about to ask, actually.
So when people say, for instance, someone who's maybe a skeptic and doesn't grasp what you experience might say something to someone who says that they're psychic, well, tell me what the lottery numbers are going to be, or tell me who's sitting next to me. Why doesn't that work? Why is that not something that is possible for people who have this link into more?
I think it has something more to do with a faith. I don't think it has anything to do with material gain. That's greed. Like when I surprise somebody and I tell them something about themselves I should not know, they're looking amazed. They're looking, they're so surprised. You're giving them something to believe in, something magical again. It's
Are the people that you have see information on, is it sometimes trivial, or is it always significant?
No, sometimes it's trivial. It makes people happy. If their father passed on or something like that, they come through. They just want to know that they're doing okay. The spirits share memories of when their kids were growing up, things like that. Something that these people only know about. They're happy. I tell them things that I should not know in general, like if you lose something, where to find it. That's a bit amazing, actually, the look on their faces, because they look kind of scared, actually.
And do you have to have a connection with them, or as you go about your day at the mall, do you see people, and how do you connect the memory or the vision to the person?
When it's a one-on-one person, like when I'm doing a reading, I can connect very well with them. 2 or 3 people in the room, I can pinpoint who's who. 5 people, I can still pinpoint. When it's the mall itself, I get really scattered. I actually really do try to avoid busy places. It's I really pick up lots on people that are in a bad mood. Their energy is just, it's amazing. It's awful.
And we are at the 1 hour mark. This fascinating interview does continue for our full access overtime members. To get full access, simply go to our website at spiritsandmoreradio.com. Under the full access section, you'll see an orange Patreon button. Click on that to find out more and hear the rest of the show. You can also join our live broadcast alert list. We email the day of the show when we are going to broadcast live, so you can tune in and hear the full show and also have the opportunity to call in. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.